Hello everybody! Happy Art Day! Welcome to Freakin' Art! I'm Anastasia and I'm so glad you decided to join me to make some art today. Did you know that today is the start of the Chinese New Year? That's right! Today marks the beginning of the Chinese New Year. This is a festival that is celebrated in many countries around the world and generally lasts about 15 days. It's also called the Lunar New Year because it starts on the new moon, or spring festivities. Now, the Chinese New Year, there's a lot of traditions and activities to celebrate our ancestors, to bring good luck and wealth and good health for the year to come. Now, one of the main parts of the Chinese New Year celebration is the dragon dance. So for today's class, we're gonna make our very own dragon puppet. Roar! Doesn't that look like fun? And we're gonna do it using stuff from around our house. Aren't you excited? I am. So before we start, let's do a little bit of breathing exercise and a little stretch so we can be super focused and ready to make our art. Okay, are you ready? Everybody breathe in and breathe out. Let's do that one more time. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Let's roll our shoulders back and roll them forward. And interlace our fingers and stretch out those hands and fingers and arms. Well, I feel focused and ready to go. I hope you do too. So for today's class, we're going to be using 2 empty toilet paper rolls. I'm going to be using red paint and a little bit of white paint. You're going to need 2 circles to trace, a small one and a medium-sized one, some scissors, a pen, a paintbrush for the paint, some water, and a paper towel, and then some fun paper to make your dragon eye and details with the tail and the nose and all that. You're also going to need 2 sticks. I'm going to be using skewers for like barbecuing, but you could use chopsticks or real sticks. Just have to poke them through the middle. You're also going to need some fabric for the center of your dragon puppet. You could use, I have a sleeve of a ripped shirt or just some random blue fabric. You could use an old sock. This is old stockings. Those will all work. I don't know if I said, but glue. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make our dragon head and our dragon tail. So we got our 2 toilet paper rolls. You can see on the head, I have a triangle cut out for the mouth. And then on the back for the tail, I just kind of cut it at a diagonal. So we'll do the tail first, since that's easier. So take one of your toilet paper rolls and squish it a little bit. And then you're going to cut from the top corner down. Now, it doesn't matter how dramatic you do that, but you want to leave some space so you can stick your skewer or your chopstick or your stick through there. I will draw a line first so you can see what I'm doing. You don't have to draw a line, you can just cut. I mean, I believe in you. I believe you don't need lines to guide your cutting. But this is just so you can see really clearly what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to cut from the top here down at an angle, and I'm going to cut through the whole thing. So I have it squished so I can cut through both sides at the same time so it's even. So this is for our tail. Got my scissors. Ha! There we go, I got my tail piece. Now for the mouth, kind of hard to see because, oh, I can show you in here. We got a triangle cut out. So it doesn't matter if it's exactly the same on both sides, but if you want it to be, that's cool too. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And again, I'm going to draw on it so you can see what I'm doing. But you don't need to. So I'm going to draw a triangle. And now I'm going to cut that triangle out. And don't worry about cutting right on the line because we're going to paint our dragon a nice fun red color. Okay. So we got our two, our head, and our tail pieces. Now since we're already cutting and drawing, let's go ahead and do the eyeballs. Oh! So I got one done already here, and I have one big circle with a little circle on the inside, and then I put a dot of white paint. Now I have two different pieces of paper and some paint, but you could just do one piece of paper and then color in the rest if you want, or you could do 3 pieces of paper. It's up to you, artist choice. But I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 pieces of paper with the dot of paint. So I got my funky red paper for my eyeball. And I'm going to take my medium circle, and I'm going to draw 2 circles, trace 2 circles, so I can have 2 eyes on my dragon. Now again, you could always draw on the back of your, so you don't have to worry about the mark showing up. I'm going to try to cut mine very carefully, but it's not going to bother me if there's a little bit of a black outline anyway. So I got my 2 eyeball circles, and I'm going to cut them out. Okay, I got 2 big circles for my dragon eyeballs. Now I want to do the little black circle for the inside of the pupil. Again, you could draw that on there if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and cut mine out. So I got my black piece of paper. This time I'm going to draw on the back because it's a little bit lighter. Got a tiny coin. I'm going to circle or trace 2 circles. Now I'm going to cut those out. I guess if you wanted to save time, you could also fold your paper in half and just trace 1 circle and cut it out, but sometimes that gets tricky too, so either way works. So now you should have 4 circles. You should have two bigger ones. I lost that one for a second. And 2 little black ones. Now, let's glue them together so we don't lose them. So we're just going to take the black ones and put a little bit of glue on the back. And you can put it anywhere you want on the red circle. I'm going to go kind of closer to one side like that. Let's just press that down. Let's do the other one. There we go. I'm going to put these to the side. We'll paint on them in just a second. Okay, next we're going to cut out some triangles. So I have some really funky fun gold paper, but it could be any color you want. I just happen to have this fun paper in my house, or in my studio, I should say. I'm going to cut it down a little bit so it's easier to see what I'm doing. So I have a little rectangle here, and I'm going to fold my rectangle in half. Okay, and now I'm going to draw a triangle on this, and we'll cut it out. Again, you could totally use a ruler or a straight edge so you have a perfect triangle, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay, here's my triangle. Now if you want, you could do a little jagged edge on the bottom of your triangle so it looks like you have teeth for your dragon's face. Like that. So first, I'm going to cut out my triangle, and I'm going to hold the pieces of paper together so I can just go ahead and cut out the teeth at the same time. Okay, so I have my triangle, and now I'm going to do just a little jagged cut, like tiny triangles, so it looks like teeth. Now don't get frustrated. This might take a lot of concentration, but I believe you can do it. And if you feel like it's getting really hard, just take a deep breath and let it all go. And if it's really frustrating, maybe see if one of the adults in the house can help you out. Okay. So now you should have 2 triangles, maybe with some little teeth at the bottom. So put this inside with my eyeballs. Next, you can see on my dragon here, it's got these little long beardy whiskers. So that's kind of like a really long, skinny triangle. You could start by cutting out a line so you have a really long rectangle, and then just making a point at the end, because we'll fold it up anyway so it doesn't have to look perfect. Remember, nothing's perfect, it's all just good enough. So I got a long rectangular with a point on the end, but I want one on each side, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out another piece here, make a long rectangle. Just cut out a long strip basically. And then I'm going to make a point at the end. And you don't have to do the point at the end. It could just be a long strip, and I think it will still look really nice. So don't stress about it. It should be fun. Okay. So now I got my 2 beardy pieces. I'm going to put them with my eyeballs and my teeth piece. Now the next thing I have on here is I have these triangle, like a long triangle on each side of the tail. It's more like a fancy decoration for my dragon here. Again, you could take your scrap piece here. Like this is the scrap piece from when I cut out my first triangle, and you could always use that. It's just decoration, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Aha! So I got those 2 triangle pieces for the back. And lastly, I have on my tail is one big triangle that's been cut a little bit in half. I'm going to do a big tail, I think. I'll draw on here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm cutting out a big triangle. And then I'll draw a line down the center. Because I'm going to split the triangle almost in half. But just at the top part so I can have the tail be two separate pieces. So I'm going to cut out my big triangle. And you could save all your little scrap pieces from cutting out your triangles to decorate your dragon. I mean, this is just the basic guy, but you could see you could put triangles on the top and then it would have some horns. I mean, you could go crazy and put glitter and whatever on it. It's your dragon. It should be as fantastical as you want it to be. So I have this one triangle for the tail, and then I'm going to just cut a little bit of it in half, right on that line. But so it's not all the way in half, it's attached at the bottom there. But then I can take those two different pieces and move them around. So now you should have all of your cut out pieces of paper. So you should have your eyeballs, and we already glued them on. And then a couple triangles. We'll go through them as we put it together. Okay, so first things first, let's put a little dot in the center of our eyeball. Now you could use a crayon, you could use a marker. I have paint, and since I'm just using the white paint, I'm gonna be okay with actually dipping my paintbrush in here, which I usually don't do, but for today we're making exception. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of paint on my paintbrush and then put a white dot somewhere in the center of that black circle to make my dragon eyeball. I'll put that over to the side to dry and take the other one and we're gonna let it dry. Now I'm gonna put my paintbrush in some water. Okay, now let's paint the head and tail of our dragon red. So I got my red paint here. I'm just using regular Crayola paint. You can use poster paint or tempera paint or acrylic paint, or you could even just use markers, or you could wrap it in paper, whatever you feel like doing. Okay. And again, since I'm just using the one color, I'm okay with actually dipping my paintbrush in here. I'm using a different paintbrush, so I'm not messing up my red. And I'm just going to stick my fingers in the toilet paper tube, like so I don't get my hands all messy when I'm painting it. And we're just going to paint the whole outside red. This is probably the most relaxing part of making our dragon. Now you might have to wait for your pieces to dry before you put it all together. I already painted some toilet paper rolls red yesterday, so I could show you how to put it all together without you having to watch me wait for the paint to dry, because that would be boring and take forever. But you might have to practice your patience and wait for that paint to dry before you glue everything on there. Like maybe go get a snack. I got my tail painted. I'm gonna put it off to the side. Now I'm gonna take my face, part of my dragon, put my fingers in there again. I mean, you don't have to put your hand in there. You can leave it on the table. Whatever system works best for you, that's the one you should go with. I like to have it in my hands so I can move the toilet paper roll around without worrying about getting the paint all over me. Which I probably will get paint all over me anyway because I'm a messy artist. So we're just doing one nice coat. You could do a couple coats if you want. Like I said, you could use markers. You could even just collage it with your paper. That would look super cool. Artist choice. So it looks like I got a nice coat on my dragon head. So now I'm going to set it over here to dry. And I already have paint on my hands. That's just how it goes. I'm going to take my eyeballs are already dried. I have my dried toilet paper red painted rolls here. And we will start with poking a hole in the bottom right in the center. You might want to ask an adult for help. I'm just going to use a pen. And I'm going right. I'll put a mark there so you can see. I'm just aiming for the center of what I think would be the bottom of my jaw here. Just aiming for that center mark there. And I'm going to poke a hole with my with my pen in there so I'll be able to stick my stick through. Okay, so I got one hole, and now let's take the tail. And again, I'm going for, and this is why you don't want to cut all the way down because you need some room here to put your stick. So I'm going for the center of the bottom. So it's going to be the shorter part of this one. And I'm poking that hole. Again, I'm just using my pen, but there we go. So you should have a hole on each side. This will make it easier so you don't have to worry about messing up your glued pieces when you're manhandling your toilet paper roll to get that hole in there. Okay, so we got both ends. We got the tail and the head of our dragon. I guess maybe we'll start with the tail. So those two longer triangles you cut out, we're going to glue those down. Okay, so I got my two longer triangles. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of each of them. This is kind of like racing stripes. Or it could be like little tiny wings that are on the back of the dragon. You know? Something like that. So I have one triangle. I'm going to put this flat edge. So this is the top here, this is the bottom, and I'm just going to put that flat edge towards the not cut side, somewhere in the middle there. And let's put it on the other side. Okay, so my dragon has two little racing wings in the back now, and now we're going to put on her tail. So I got my longer triangle that's cut in two, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on the front part of it, so the gold part, just a little bit right here where it's not cut. Okay, so I got that, and again I'm putting it on the inside of the back of the toilet. It's the wrong side. Good thing I'm paying attention, guys. Okay, see this part of the tail that's cut? So I'm putting it on the inside, on the top there, like that. So it's glued right in there. And then you can take your paper and curly cue it so it looks like it's flying in the wind. Okay, so that's the back of our dragon here. I'm going to put this right over here. Now let's do the face. So we're going to start with those triangle pieces where we cut out the little zigzags so it looks like teeth. And we're going to put them right here. So you can either put a little bit of glue down on your dragon head, or you can put it on the back of your piece of paper. I'm going to put it right here on the back of my piece of paper, down the whole thing, just like right where my finger is, right here. So So I'm going across the bottom where those teeth are. Not all the way up the whole thing, and I'm going to do the other side too. So I'm going across the bottom where the teeth are with my glue stick. And then remember, keep the hole on the bottom. And then you'll take your triangle. Here we go. And stick it so the teeth are hanging off that lip. You can see through here, they're kind of hanging off that lip. So you want the teeth to come down over the edge of that cardboard, but you don't want the whole triangle to be glued to the top because you want it to stick up. Okay, let's do the other side. So I got that's the bottom with the hole. And I'm taking my triangle with the teeth part down, and I'm putting it so the teeth hang over. There we go, and I'm smushing it on there good, and then I'm making sure that the top of the triangle is sticking up. So it's kind of like a nose. So we got our teeth on the front. Let's go ahead and put our beard pieces on. So those are our long triangle pieces, or the rectangles with the points. And again, we're just going to put glue on the top part. So maybe just a finger width, not on the pointy part, but on the flat part, okay? I got glue on the back of both of those. Now you could fold it over if you want, or you could cut it. I'm just folding it over a little bit on the bottom lip, like that. Let's do this other side. So I'm putting it kind of towards the top, and I'm just folding it over a little bit so it's nice and secure. And then you should have two dangly parts of your beard. And again, you can crinkle your paper. My paper is kind of like a foily paper, so it crinkles really well. Tin foil would work good. But even if you have regular paper, you should be able to crinkle it a little bit. So you got some curly, cute beards. I think it's looking really good so far. I can't wait to see yours. Next, we got our eyeballs. And we're going to put them towards the back of the head here. And again, you want to put you're just going to put glue on like the bottom half of it, because you want part of the eyeball to be sticking up off of your cardboard. So let's take our eyeballs, and I'm going to put glue on the back here on half of it, like probably where that top of that eyeball, the black part of the eyeball is. Aim for that, so make sure we have it the right way, and then we're going to flip it over. Put a little bit of glue on there. And we're going to make sure we have it the right way so the eyeball's down towards the bottom here the pupil is. Up, and put some glue on the bottom half there. And now we're going to put on our eyeballs. So I'm putting it towards the back of my head again. Whew, I almost did it the wrong way. Pay attention to where the hole is, because that's where the stick's going to go in. So the hole's here. Your dragon beard should be hanging down. And then you're going to put your eyeball, just going to smush it on somewhere that looks nice. I think that looks nice. You can put it further to the front if you want. I'm having mine a little bit to the back here. And again, I had already pre-painted a set of these. So you might want to wait until your stuff is dry, unless you're very confident in your skills. But there we go. So I got the dragon head with the triangle nose, the long pointed rectangle beard, and the circular eyes. And then I got the dragon tail with the triangle back wings or racing stripes, and this really funky triangle tail that's been cut in half. So now the fun part is putting in the body. I would suggest using something soft like fabric. Like I said, you could use a sock. or I got old tights that had holes in them, or I got this shirt. And maybe just ask the adult around to see what you can use. For this one, I just used a piece of fabric and folded it. I'm going to use this tube, the sleeve, but I'll show you how to do it with just a regular piece of fabric. So what you're going to do is take your skewer. Now if you don't have a point, you might have to put a hole in your fabric first and then glue it. Or you can always use tape if you don't want to wait for the glue to dry. Because sometimes we're impatient. We just want to see how cool our dragon looks. So I'm going to put this fabric, just one end of it, in here. And you can see I put my stick, my skewer through that hole. And I'm going to smush the fabric down on it so it goes through. The skewer goes through the fabric. Oh, that was very easy. It was much easier than the other piece. Now you could always glue the fabric to the inside of the cardboard so it doesn't come out if you're worried about it. But it should look kind of like that. So you can see, maybe you can see right in there, the skewer is just coming through the fabric. If you have a sock or a stocking you're working with, you can put it through, since it's already a tube, you could put it through the top and the bottom, and then it should stick in there pretty good. Okay, so we got one end. Ha! Now let's take the head, and I'm using a skewer for the grill, and I'm just putting it through there. And then I'm going to take, see if I can do this. I'm going to take my sleeve and just poke it on there. And this is thin material, it's silk, so it's not having a problem going on that skewer at all. I mean, I might make some faces while I'm trying to put it on just to make sure, because, you know, faces and noises really help you do things. But I'm just not poking myself, I'm just smushing that fabric onto the skewer so it goes through. Like that. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Haha! And now, this dragon is very much shorter. It's much shorter than my other dragon, but that's okay. La 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 la! Roar! Roar! Happy New Year! Wealth and prosperity to you! Isn't that fun? I think so. Let me show you real quick in case you just have one like flat piece of fabric, in case you don't have a sock or a stocking and you just have like a little scrap. I'll show you this real quick. Kind of like it a little bit bigger because you can get more movement. But artist choice, so you know, maybe you want yours to be a short dragon. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Or this one, I like this color combination too. The red and blue is very pretty. But for this, all I did, again, I have those holes in the skewers. I actually poked the holes in here first, but I have this flat piece of fabric and I folded it over like it would be a tube, and I poked a hole in it with my pen, and then I stuck the skewer through and just put that fabric back on there. So it's one rectangle, it's just folded over. So again, I took that fabric and I folded it over so it was like a tube, and then I had my dragon bottom and the skewer going through. Put the fabric just smushed it right on there. I think the fabric's better than paper because the paper's gonna rip, would be my opinion on that, but it's up to you. And again, you can glue it in there so it stays better. But there you go. That's how we can make a really fun dragon to help celebrate the beginning of the Chinese New Year. Now, I'd love to see what you guys make. So please take pictures and tag me on Instagram at freaking art. Send me some snail mail. Send me an email. Whatever you want. I'd love to see your really fun, festive Chinese New Year's dragon. If you like today's class, please like and subscribe and share with your friends because it really helps me continue to make these awesome art classes for you. Well, I hope you had a good time making some art with me today. I sure did. And I'll see you next week, okay?